Okay.
So basically, vitamin D receptor in the body activates a cleansing process. It's like a vacuum. It finds out where the stuff is and removes it. So when you remove the product, it has to come only in certain ways, either in your feces or urine or sweat or cough, okay? Or some pimples, small pimples here and there coming out. That's the only way it can come out. So whatever is there is killed the bacteria and pushed out. So cough is actually uh, good for you. People say you should cough at least 15 times a day because it brings out all the bacteria out of the system. But in America, if you cough, oh, you got COVID, they will say. But but cough is a very normal immune response.
Well, no, I knew it. So I said, well, I'm going to continue taking it a little more than 2 times a day.
Yeah, I take many times a day. Whenever I walk past, I see it. And my dog says, oh, you took it, give it to me. So I give it to the dog also. My puppy knows it, somewhere here. See?
I knew it's detoxing me, so I'm just now to the point. So it's basically a week and a half that I'm starting. Maybe now I can take it 2 times and then go to one because I'm just trying to feel how it works on me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So everybody is different, especially in Western countries. In America, especially, you will see more of detox going on because the food supply is completely corrupted. It's all GMOs. 80% of the food we eat is GMO.
Okay,
Europe,
so welcome.
for example, I'll tell you, we have people here who are allergic to gluten, in America. When they go to Europe, they eat the same bread, nothing happens because the difference in the US is we have added gluten in addition to natural gluten. See, natural gluten is not the problem, but the added gluten is the problem.
Well, not only that, some of our best wheat is sold to France, believe it or not.
But it could be non-GMO because Europeans do not allow GMO.
So I just want to welcome everybody to Nada.
Hi.
And Sandy's treasure chest of Mother's Nature. And we have Dr. Raghu with us today. We were chatting already. And we welcome everybody. If you'd like to say hi. I don't know who just came on, the blonde with the blue t-shirt. Could you introduce yourself?
Oh, hi, I'm Nancy Cipher.
Oh, there's your name. Thank you, Nancy. Yes. So glad you made it.
Yes, thank you. I'm so excited to be here. I was on the last call with Nada and I'm really excited to have Dr. Raghu here talking to us. And so we're getting it right from the horse's mouth.
That's right. And Helma, does anybody want to say hi and say where they are?
Hi, Dr. Raghu. I'm Helma. I'm in Florida.
Okay.
Who else do we have here? George?
Hey, this is Sean in Lexington, Kentucky.
Hi, Sean.
Hi, Nada.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. I don't have my camera going right now, but yeah, it's great to be on the call. And we've been selling Nanosoma out of our healing center for a few months now, and man, people are just loving it, getting great results. I'm excited for this call, and yeah, it's great to see Dr. Raghu on here. Welcome. And I'm
gonna give me some of your experiences that you heard from your people.
Oh my gosh. I mean, we have a gentleman who is dealing with MS, multiple sclerosis. Mm-hmm. He has an extremely busy corporate life. He travels all the time, flying in helicopters, and I mean, he buys it more frequently than in a month. He's like, I just keep it everywhere and I use it all the time. And I know that it's helping me. We have a lady that has given it to her cat who is near death from kidney issues or something like that. And the cat's running around the house like a new animal now.
Wow.
Yeah, yes, we have seen many of those cases here.
Yeah. I mean, people are just loving it. A lot of people who are just healthy already, they're like, man, my energy level is even better than what it was. It's, there's just stories across the board. It's really, really fantastic. So we're thrilled to have it. Yeah, I mean, we're ordering it all the time because, I mean, I think we've sold about close to 100 bottles in the last 2 months, and we haven't even advertised it yet. It's just talking to people that come in. So it's really awesome to be a part of that. And, looking forward to everybody else hearing more about it. So it's nice to be on the call. Good to see you, Nada.
Hey, good to, oh, I mean, I don't see, I just
I
hear
know,
you.
yeah.
We can
Good to hear.
hear you, but we can't see you. Thanks, Sean.
You
And
bet.
Shireen, where are you?
She is in England. Shireen,
Oh,
do
okay.
you want to say hello?
Hi guys. Sorry, I'm just doing something in the background, but yes, I'm in London, UK. Thank you, Nala, for the link. I'm really excited to learn more about this wonderful product. And Nancy actually was the lady who introduced me to this, so I'm very, very excited to learn more and quite happy to be sharing the time with you all today.
Have you started using it? Did you receive it yet?
I haven't received it yet.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Pandemic
Sorry.
and
It
deliveries.
It takes longer these days.
So
But
sorry.
thank you for sending it. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's no problem. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
So
Yes.
Shireen, you started using it?
I haven't received it yet,
Oh, okay.
but great, doctor. I'm very much looking forward to. As soon as I get it, I will be
Yeah,
immediately.
we are planning. I think Richard is, planning to market in the UK directly. We have set up a company there, get the watt number or whatever, and then hopefully we'll be there soon. So you don't have to.
Yeah, that would be
Ship it.
good. That
Yeah.
would be great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
And
Awesome. George is who? Do you want to say?
George is an old friend of mine who joined us. Hi, George. Do you want to say hello?
Hi, Nana. How are you? Nice seeing
Good
you.
to see you. Nice to see you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for inviting us. Well,
Well, thank you for coming on. Yeah. Do you have any
Thank you.
questions? Are you curious?
no, I just want to listen.
Good. Okay. All
Thank
right.
you.
That's
So
wonderful.
did you start using it, Jorge?
No,
No.
he's here for the first time, so he is just listening to introduce himself to everything. So
Okay.
yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I must report that I've been using it now for a couple months, I would say. And yeah, I just love using it. I don't feel right if I don't use it. So I'm also using the gel for some teeth issues. And I think that is improving. It's taking some time. And also on a skin, like there's a bruise that I've had for a long time from whatever occurrence it happened. And guess what? The skin tone is changing. So it's working. And I'm just spraying it on it and on my hips that have been bothering me. So I'm taking internally and spraying it externally. And it's increasing, the mobility and lessening the discomfort. So I'm really loving the
It's a process. Everybody says, "Oh, it didn't happen to me overnight," but it's a process because
Yes.
it depends on, our body is 90% bacteria and viruses, and we're worried about one stupid virus. But we ourselves carry so many viruses and bacteria, and each is different. For example, somebody in UK or Amsterdam will have a different set of viruses and bacteria compared to we in New York or Florida or whatever. And it changes every minute of the day. And what keeps us not getting sick is our immune system. So with this product, boosts your immune system and keeps it in check and also keeps the bacteria in check. So depending on how much dysregulations happen, the timing is different because no two people are alike. We had people, for example, 2 weeks ago in India, one of our doctors was treating a patient, woman who was 10 years, she had Parkinson's. So she had no sense of balance. She could not stand. She was in a wheelchair. And even the wheelchair, she would, move. So she started the product. So I think in 2-3 days, she used it. The second day, I would say, in Bombay, of course, a population of 24-25 million people, there's a huge apartment complex, and in the middle is a huge park. And she was able to walk on the second or third day, and to the shock of many after 10 years. So to me, that was amazing stuff but we know how it works because the more serious your disease, the faster you see the response.
Right.
If you are in the borderline, like some people say, I'm 114 pounds, I want to get to 111 pounds. That's a tough issue. It's not going to happen. It's going to take you to the right weight. For example, I exercise about 10 hours a week. I play professional badminton. I burn each time I go to play 3 hours. I do about 2,000 calories each time I play. I burn. So by doing that, and I was taking this product, my goal was to get my weight. I was 172. Now I'm like 168. It's a BMI of 22. I'm 6 feet. So, it's as perfect as it gets. I can't get below that because the body says that's your optimal weight.
Mhm.
But it will reduce the weight over time. The second thing it has done for me is it has reduced my food intake by half. So I eat half the food I ate 5-6 years ago, 10 years ago. It's decreased. Yeah. So I could go on. I've been without food for 16, 18 hours without a problem, just water. And I don't feel it because the energy level is still there.
Yeah. I agree. I can attest to that as well. That, the tendency, I'm never hungry. I'm just not hungry.
See, it is called as what do you call caloric? It's called. There's a word for it. Calorie restriction diet. It's called. So what happens is once all your systems are working, it's working in high efficiency. So right now you have a car which runs at 20 miles a gallon. Suddenly it's going at 40 miles a gallon. You need half the fuel.
Yes.
That's what is happening to our bodies. So it reduces the thing. So when it happens, you have less of free radicals in your body and mitochondria, and so less chances of getting a disease. Calorie restriction is a very important way to overcome many diseases.
And I would mention one thing, the importance of drinking water, good water, to flush things, out of the system. I know I can feel it when I am not drinking enough water. And I grew up in Europe. I grew up in Germany, and the water was kind of forbidden to drink. So we drank seltzer water or tea or something like that because it was bad water. So I didn't get that, used to doing that. So I have to really remind myself the importance of water and drinking the water to help the body flush out whatever we need to flush out.
This is what I do. I put water and I either put basil leaves, coriander leaves, or put a hot pepper or a lemon, and I just drink it all the time. So
yeah, right. It's important.
That's what I do. Water I drink. I drink much more water than before. It has curbed my complete appetite for alcohol completely. I mean, it's gone.
Yeah.
I can't even look at an alcohol bottle now.
Right.
Even wine. I mean, I would drink at least 1 or 2 glasses of wine in a week, but now nothing. There's no urge. Zero.
Well, that's a good point because I have this alcohol in my house for probably 10 or 15 years, these bottles, and they're above the fridge and I need the space, and I've been wanting to get rid of it, but I don't know what to do with it. I guess I should just pour it down the drain and throw the bottles out, right?
That's it.
Good point, Sandy.
Because I don't know which is taking up space. I don't want the energy from them even in my house,
I mean, I tell people, when you drink wine or when you drink beer, it's a fermented. So there's a lot of sugars there. People don't realize it.
Yes.
Well, they don't call them spirits for nothing, Dr. Raghu.
So that's why, if at all I decided that the only way to curb my alcohol is to have a single malt whiskey, small amount, which is 30 years old or greater. So I can't, have one bottle, little sip, maybe once in 6 or 8 weeks.
Why? Why
it.
have any?
What?
Why have any?
Just a little bit. It's 75 calories just for social, but I may not even drink it. I have put ice, I take one sip and wait there, it melts, and then I throw it out.
So you missed my point. They don't call it spirits for nothing.
Correct.
So, Dr. Raghu, since we have some people on here that are not familiar with nanosoma and with you, or Richard, either or both of you, could you just briefly share what nanosoma is, how you came about discovering it and bringing it to us, to the world?
Richard, you want to take over?
I'm happy to provide a little context and then pass the baton to you, sir. So nanosoma is effectively a little nanoparticle, or it's a nanoemulsion, really, is the best way to look at it, which is in water. And it turns out that this little particle has been communicating with our biology forever. And it's been part of our food. It's polycosanol, which is a family of food alcohols, have been part of our food forever till we refined it. And so there's been a small amount of that polycosanol that's been in this nanoparticle form. So you might say this has been whispering to our bodies forever. And it's an old relationship that's, if you understand it, in fact, older than biology itself. And so when we refined our foods, one of the things that was taken out has been polycosanol. So this relationship has been broken. And in my opinion, it's one of the reasons we've seen such an explosion in illness and disease issues. And what Raghu has done is to bring this back to us in a form that certainly has not been around for a long time. This product is described in the Rig Veda, Indian spiritual text of 5,600 years ago. So our ancestors knew about it, but we lost it. And Raghu has walked a journey which has seen him bring it back into the world. And when you do, it's just profound, is the word I would use. It's like the key to the functioning of our bodies that's been missing, that we didn't understand was missing until we return it. It's that profound. There is yet to be any human health condition that this has been tested against that it doesn't trigger the body to heal. So as I said, it's like a missing key. And not only that, it reverses the aging process. So in my vision, if you will, I think in 20 years' time, humanity will look back and wonder how it was. We walked through this time of illness and disease and aging because it won't exist anymore. It'll disappear. It's that profound. And a lot of the things that we currently use to take care of our health won't be required anymore. It is going to truly transform human health. Raghu, would be useful, I think, if you describe for people a little of your journey to bring this gift forth for humanity.
Yeah, so I worked in let me give you my background where I come from. It's very different. So I came to this country in 72. I did my PhD in Oregon State University in organic chemistry. Then I spent 3 years in Germany in Max Planck Institute. Then I spent 2 years at Columbia University Medical Center here in New York. And then I worked for Novartis, and then I worked for Boehringer Ingelheim. During that journey, I learned all about drug discovery that the pharma does. And around 95, 96, I said, this is it. This is not working. I'm wasting my time. I got to do something different. Because at that time, I heard a lecture by a guy called Dr. Stephen Felice, Innovation for Medicine in New Jersey. And he's an MD, PhD from Harvard. And at the end of his lecture, he said something like, in my lifetime, there will be a nutraceutical which will replace all drugs. That's exactly what the words he said. And everybody laughed, and for some reason that stuff stuck in my head, just stuck. It didn't leave. I said, how could this MD, PhD be so wrong? Suppose he is right, okay? There must be an answer. Just to eat. Subconsciously, he must have said it. But that appealed to me, didn't appeal to anybody else. And that's where my journey really began, And then I started reading and deprogramming myself out of the pharma, because we know it doesn't work. There's no use going back to that system that doesn't work. You have to think different. At that time, Steve Jobs, I'm an Apple aficionado. So Steve Jobs said, think different, he had all these ads about. So think different to me meant there has to be a better way. And, in India, it came back to me that my ancestors, my grandparents, my uncles and aunts in India, my grandfather lived to be 97. He never took a single prescription drug, nothing whatsoever. And if you know India with all the disease, all this dirt and everything else, it is it's a wonder how it happened. But he told me it's not difficult. You're designed to live in this environment because your body can protect yourself if you do the right thing. He would sit in the sun. He would eat food exactly at a certain time of the day. He would go for a walk. All the right things he did, all the right things. And luckily for me, all the food we ate when we grew up in India. See, we grew up in India. We're a middle class family. The only thing we could afford was education. The only thing we had was 2 meals a day. Unprocessed foods we ate. So we'd go to the market, buy it, bring it back quickly, make it and eat it fresh. It probably just came off the farm. No processing, because there was no processed food in those days. Okay, and we are lucky because we never were fed this kind of foods. So in that sense, the first 20 years of my life were free of all chemicals and everything. So the immune system was pretty strong by then. And I haven't been to a doctor in this country since I came. So 50 years. And so in 2000, I asked myself, why is it there's a guy called Craig Venter, you must have heard of him. He sequenced the human genome, and he said, we have only 20,000 genes. The lowly fruit and grapes have 27,000 genes, but they're smaller in size, of course. But he said, what we carry is for every human gene we supposedly have, we have 360 bacterial and viral genes. I mean, your hand has 200 kinds of bacteria at a given point. When you shake hands, you're exchanging bacteria with somebody else. But the other person doesn't go sick and you don't go sick because the immune system says, this guy is okay, that guy is okay. So, it's all done. The problem only starts when one of them has a weak immune system. So when he said that, so what happens is this from an industry perspective. If for every human gene you have 20,000 genes, that's 360 bacterial genes, the total amount of genes that are present in your body, including bacteria, viruses, and so on, is 7.2 million genes. 7.2 million. So when a company tells you, we somehow found a cure for this gene because we target this gene and affect this gene, therefore this disease, the odds of you winning in Las Vegas are far greater than this. That's why most drugs, when they go in, it's a random event that happens in the body. They attack whatever they want to, okay? Because your body will only recognize things which it has grown up with. I mean, just like you and me, when we go and go to a party or something, you recognize people you have interacted before. Same way your body does the same thing. So when you take a drug, it says, hey, you're not supposed to be here. It goes into overdrive, the liver. That's why many people who take drugs, the liver enzymes are elevated. Doctors keep checking for liver enzymes. So what it recognizes is this, that, see, when you eat food, food contains DNA and RNA, the language of the cell. So when the food you eat communicates with the DNA of your body, they're speaking the same language. But when you take a drug, the language spoken by the drug is Russian, your body is talking Spanish, there is no understanding, so random event happens, side effects happen, and you say all these things happen. So that's the whole problem. And that's ongoing. Nobody has resolved that problem. But basically, the foods you eat contain the language of life, which is the DNA and RNA, and they communicate. What happens is when you process the food, you strip away many of these genes. And therefore, the language is now not exact. It may be English, but it could be, for example, Cockney English on one hand. And so, there is side effects. Or it could be even worse. It could be French and English, whatever language. But there's no communication. So the side effects happen. That's why your body goes into overdrive. Just to give you a simple example, if your body produces 1 unit of insulin, it can reduce in the body, if the body produces insulin, sugar by 50 units. But diabetics always take 10, 20, 30, 40 units because they're so efficient. The minute you inject, your body says, hey, you don't belong here. It begins to produce antibodies. So after a while, you're taking 10 units And doctor says, oh, we got to increase your unit from 20, 30, 40, up to 100. I've seen people up to 100, you know. And then they say, okay, this insulin doesn't work. Let's start with the new insulin from a new company. The process is repeated. So there's no end to it, you know. So for me, the answer was this. My uncles, the one is surviving one, when I saw him 2004 or 5, he lived to be 94. He was never sick, never. Again, the last time he ever felt sick was during the great influenza of 1918. And he told me, why? He said, I get rice straight from our farm, unprocessed. That's what I eat. I eat jaggery. Jaggery is basically, you take sugar cane, you crush it, and you get this liquid. When the liquid evaporates, it's a brown substance left. You can look up jaggery. It's available on Amazon, you know, Indian jaggery, organic jaggery, Jaggery. So, and he told me that there is a temple in South India. It's written in our scriptures. And this temple, they worship sugarcane. But before that happened, that same evening, as luck would have it, this is where, you know, things are designed by somebody or whatever the forces to be. I meet a friend, he works in a sugar factory, and he's telling me, you know, guess what? All the executives in my factory suffering from diabetes and hypertension and kidney disease and so on. But the workers are not. They're only a very small person. I said, why? He said, the workers eat jaggery and the executives eat refined sugar. That's when I think I said, that was for me the Eureka moment, because my uncle had spoken about jaggery. This guy talks about it. And he mentioned the same thing. There's a temple where we worship jaggery. And that temple was set up 5,600 years ago, or origin anyway. People take a jaggery worship and say, let the disease go away. It contains a little bit of salt. So, you know, the composition is already right there. And the interesting part is they believe it cures 4,448 diseases. That's the mythology of the temple. The translation of the temples means doctor's temple. To me, the curiosity was that of all the foods in the world, why did they worship jaggery? You know, why not mangoes? Why not wheat? Why not rice? Why not bananas? Why not pineapples? No, this was special. There was something in the jaggery. Okay, so we have done the gene expression studies since then. From that, I knew the answer. As a chemist, I knew what the molecules were. It was very simple from that. So we made this into nano emulsion. See, nano is nothing but you take salt, you put it in water, that's nano. Soap in water is nano. But nobody was able to make this product nano because it's like a piece of rock. It's a wax. And we made this nano. We also made it stable. That's why we got the patent, because the properties became very unique after that. And the rest is, we have seen things happen that's mind-boggling. I think we had a case just now today. We had a case of a guy about 8 months ago. They found that he had TB of the stomach. Then a few weeks into January of this year, he had TB of the brain. Then they found out it had HIV. Then they found out that he had no balance in one side of his body, he couldn't move. So he goes to the hospital, finally meets this Dr. Anande, one of my people who was a TB expert, who gives him a bottle of nanosoma. In 3 days of using it, he's back home. They discharged him from the hospital. Nothing else was given to him. That's this. The doctors were very cooperative. They said, we don't know what to do with all these things. We don't know how to treat him. And another 3 days later, he was able to walk to the market in Mumbai, buy the groceries for his home and come back. He's extremely happy. Now, how do you explain it? I can explain it scientifically. But for the patient, he doesn't care. He said, I feel good. All this stuff is gone. I feel good. That feeling, that is what I get from people every day from all over the world, something or the other. Even we had a case in Australia of a woman who had a clot. I think I'll give it to Richard, he will tell you. But the rest is history. After that, we started doing this work and everybody began reporting this happened, that happened, this happened. Now we have figured out how it happens. So this is probably the only nutraceutical in the world, food supplement, where we know exactly how it works in the body. It goes in and says, the following things are wrong with your body. I am your teacher. I taught you this 2 billion years ago what to do. Okay. You are not doing what I taught you. So time for a recertification. And so that recertification begins to happen. And it happens differently at different rates in different people. But eventually it happens for everybody. Richard, perhaps you tell them about the blood clot story of this lady. It's very interesting, you know, for people to know how serious disease it was.
Yes, happy to do that. And I found that, again, Raghu has mentioned timing, and I find it fascinating just to watch the timing of things. So Raghu had done this work to basically confirm that nanosoma would effectively trigger the healing of the heart muscle. And within a few days of that, I had a phone call from a guy who'd been a long-term customer of mine and said, my partner's just been diagnosed with major heart issues. And they want to operate, but they won't be doing it for at least 30 days. And so is there anything you can suggest? I said, well, I'm not saying it will resolve it, but I suggest she uses nanosoma for the 30 days. She may not need the surgery. And so she did. She actually used it 3 times a day. And in the original cardiologist report, she had a large blood clot in her heart. The cardiologist said it's the largest blood clot he'd ever seen. And secondly, her mitral valve was in a very bad state. He wanted immediate surgery, but the surgeon said she's not well enough. Let's leave it for 30 days and see and reassess. So it was that 30-day window that we used. And at the end of that 30-day period, she had another assessment by the cardiologist, and he was stunned. The blood clot had completely disappeared, and the mitral valve was 90+% healed in 30 days. And you show that report, those 2 reports to any cardiologist, they will say, that's impossible. And guess what? In the presence of nanosoma, it's not impossible. It happens. And the key thing about this is when we are using this, these conditions won't arise, or any incipient conditions that might cause it to happen are healed. This is the magic of this product. This is why I say in 20 years' time, we will look back and wonder how we walked through this period of illness and disease and aging, because it won't exist anymore.
I just had 2 people who play badminton within our club. They had COVID. They didn't go anywhere. They just took my product. Both are free after 4 days, completely clear of virus, nothing. So this whole COVID thing, I would have solved in 1 week. We could have saved this world $20 trillion, but nobody's listening. And we can't make a claim.
Dr. Raghu, we have somebody on the call tonight that had the same situation. Nan, can you tell us your experience with nanosoma? Can you unmute and share with us, please?
She has to unmute. Okay.
Hear me?
Yeah.
Are you there, Nan?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So COVID just went through my whole entire house. 6 of us had it. I was sick for, I think it was Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, for 4 days before I started taking it. My husband was sick. He didn't start taking it because we got it on Saturday, the nanosoma. My husband didn't start taking it till Monday, but I started taking it Saturday. By the time I woke up Monday morning, my symptoms were almost gone.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah,
and by the way, did you do the test? And when you do the test, also do the antibody test. You will see their antibody is there, so you don't need a vaccine anyway. So.
Oh, I won't get the vaccine. There's no way.
Yeah, no way.
No way.
And how's your husband? Is okay?
My husband is better. Yeah, I did end up having to take him to the emergency room. But my kids got it and they started taking the nanosoma right away and they were better a lot faster.
Yeah, kids are much faster. In fact, my friend's daughter had it just overnight. Next morning, she was okay.
What's that?
My friends, entire family got it. The wife took 5 days to recover. The husband, similar time. But the kids were overnight.
Yeah, it was.
By next morning, they were okay.
But my kids started taking it a lot sooner, like when they initially started the symptoms a lot faster than what we did. And we had to order 3 more bottles of it because we were running out.
Wonderful.
We have done so far in India, I don't know, I lost count, over 700 COVID patients, all privately. We've had people call us in the middle of the night in India to hospital, and the ICU, the doctor says, I can't do anything because she's on the ventilator, do something. We have sprayed this. My guy, who's not even a doctor, goes into the ICU in India, he sprays it into the mouth and shows the doctors how to do it, and then they take over. And next 1 or 2 days later, the woman is discharged from the hospital. So we have seen this happen. There's nothing.
Yeah, it was a saver for us, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, it's very common. Also, we have found that we did a survey for we have been selling in the US since 17, and also in India and in Europe and Australia. All the people who had been using nanosoma, not a single person got COVID, not one.
Wow.
We have asked everybody. We got we sent it to 5,000 people, about 10% responded, and not in that 500, not one of them had it.
Wow. Now, do you recommend that we still do it, the 5 sprays twice a day, or because we're only doing it once a day now?
Yeah, once a day is enough. Once a day is enough. Once it reaches a certain level, it recycles itself in the body. That's the beauty of this product. See, when we started the work, we had a 40 milligram dose. It became 20, it became 10, it's now 5. Now we are down to 2.5. And my goal is to bring it to 1 so the price drops even further. So.
Wow.
So I just want to interject because there was a question from one of our people present regarding the dosage. Maybe we can just share that initially you start with doing it more often and then you deviate a little. So maybe you can share the five times a day or whatever.
Yeah, the first, when you get it, I would say do 5 sprays 4 times a day until your first bottle finishes. And the second bottle you do twice a day. It takes about 2 weeks to finish. And then you start with just 5 sprays a day. So then it's regular. What we found is this. The reason we did this is we had people in Switzerland in our factory there, 5 or 6 of them, take a 5 milligram sample, a 2.5, 1, half a milligram sample, a 10 milligram sample. And after 5 hours, everybody reached the same blood level. So that's how we know that the dosage is not critical. It recycles itself in the body.
Okay. So basically,
it hangs around for, in my estimate, about 14 days. So for 14 days, if you didn't take it, you will still have protection. But after that, it wanes out because the recycling is not happening.
Makes sense.
So if you miss a day or 2, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So basically, you saturate the body and then you give it just a regular dosage just to keep it up.
It's just not about a disease. It's about an entire system.
Correct.
But tomorrow, instead of COVID, you may get Ebola, whatever. But even if Ebola comes, we are ready because this product kills Ebola virus. We have published that as well. So if people are going to scare you about Ebola, don't worry. Just take this. Nothing will happen.
Yeah.
Basically, what this product does is it triggers the body to expel anything that doesn't belong.
Correct. That's why we call this. Richard and I came to agreement that this is the God particle.
Aha.
So this product, you see, when the Earth began, it initially, the cell, outside the cell is what we call a lipid layer. Lipid is carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. So your skin is a lipid. That's why water doesn't go through your skin,
Mhm.
So every living species in the world is covered with lipids. For example, if you have a leaf in your house, if you feel the leaf, it is smooth,
Mhm.
very smooth, most leaves. And that smoothness is my product actually. It's the wax. The bark of a tree is also contains this product. So this product is everywhere, everywhere. There's no place where it is not. So it is ubiquitous. But what happens is, first thing it did 2 billion years ago, it formed a protective layer.
Mhm.
And then it allowed, it's like a club, it formed a club, In that club, it allowed a few of these little guys to get in and start working, and life began, And this was, so when the cell was formed, so all the information was there. So this guy on the outside was sensing dangers to inside and telling inside people what to do. Same way your skin does the same thing. Suppose, if you have a dry skin somewhere, people just put oil or something. Actually, the body is telling you, especially in the face, some pimples here, there, each represents an organ in your body.
Mhm.
And so somewhere here is something to do with the stomach, somewhere here it has to do with the heart and things like that. Somewhere here is something else. So when something is there like that, that's where you need to go. No, that's where the problem is. The cell is sending you a signal, and it's expressed on the skin. Skin is your blackboard. The teacher just wrote something. And I don't know if you read it or not. When you go in front of the mirror, you see it. That's a signal there. Hey, something is happening. But what usually happens is you go to a dermatologist. That's the wrong thing. I can tell you, I had here in my shoulder, this area, at some point few years ago, dry skin. It wasn't here. It was very smooth. Now, interestingly, I had like a tennis elbow in my left, hand, and also right hand. As this improved, these pain went away. So there was a link between those. It was telling me something. So here, I know it's a link to this and to this. So you need to listen to your body. And it is giving you signals every little few days. Some people are tuned with it, some people are not.
We have forgotten to do that,
Yeah.
as has our medicine as well.
Yeah.
Today, they don't look at the whole person, and we don't function from one side or one organ only. We function as a whole. And you mentioned in the beginning how it works with our DNA. And just the other day, somebody brought it into my attention and said, "What is the meaning of DNA? It's a divine natural attribute of our."
Wow, very nice.
Right?
Yeah.
So that makes so much sense, because it works, it links together, right? So perfect. So
You can give it to animals. I mean, there is no end to what it is. So one of the things we are doing right now, I've given a big project to a lab overseas, is to take this product, treat it with our human cells, and show what each and every gene does in our body. This way, I have proof beyond proof. Nobody can question. Right now, enough proof that nobody can question. But I want to get to a level of proof that how it affects each and every gene in your body, because this is the teacher. He's just coming in and saying, "Guys, recertification examination is on. Start." And that is the beauty of this. He is bringing information of 2 billion years old, when the perfect cell was created.
Yeah.
And that same cell is now being, he's trying to implement it back in different people, and different people have different stages of, repair to be done. So that is the only thing I haven't been able to predict, is how long does it take? I've been looking at it, and it's very hard so far. We have not come up, but a rule of thumb is that if you had, let's say, diabetes for 20 years, it's generally the maximum time it'll take before you get totally healed is about 40 weeks. So for every year of disease is about 2 weeks of usage. This is approximate. It could be 3 weeks. That again, we found it depend on age. Younger people respond very quickly. Older people take a little longer. So all this is, things I don't know yet.
It's unique to the person and the condition as well.
It's
Correct.
called, there is a word they use in this world. It's called the personalized medicine.
Personal.
That's what this is. But here, the molecule is not artificial intelligence, but natural intelligence.
Could you repeat that? What did you just say? Repeat that, please.
The molecule, instead of talking about artificial intelligence, it's a naturally intelligent molecule. It's a product of nature. Okay, it's natural intelligence, not artificial. Artificial.
The best kind.
Huh?
The best kind.
Best kind. It knows what to do. It's because our cell, our bodies have seen different chemicals come and go over time before we started with drugs. So all the foods we eat, okay, it knows what it contains. So what happens is, for example, people eat low-fat yogurt. Yeah. The body says, "Hey, what are you doing? I don't see you. I don't know what you're eating." So it goes in a different path. Even though it may be yogurt, the fat is removed. The way I look at it is this: a food contains fat, proteins, and carbohydrates. Let's assume that each is 1/3 each. Okay. That's 100%. Now, let's say you remove the fat. You're left with carbohydrates and proteins, okay? Now, carbohydrates just went up from 33 to 50%. So, a low-fat diet, you increase the amount of carbohydrates,
right?
That's the exact opposite.
Right. It's creating an imbalance. It's creating an imbalance again. Yeah.
So I just wanted to bring it to everyone's attention in the chat. Richard put a link to the usage protocol, and that is if you don't feel it. But I myself followed the protocol and extended the protocol because I felt my body needed more than 2 sprays a day after the first week. So I was listening to myself and felt that I needed more. So that's what I'm doing.
To be clear, you just said 2 sprays a day. Do you mean 2 lots of 5 sprays? Is that what you mean?
Right.
You need to be very careful about your language. Be tight with your language, Sandra, because we can confuse people.
I meant in the second week's protocol.
You meant 5 sprays twice a day.
5 sprays
twice a day.
Yeah. So I'm doing 5 sprays more than twice a day in my second week because I feel that I need it.
That's perfect.
That's good.
No problem.
We have people, a doctor in Chicago who has taken up to 10 bottles in one day. So no problem.
So basically there is no overdosing.
No, there is overdosing when you consume 300 bottles in one day.
Oh. Okay.
So first of all, you would have forked out all the money to Richard, and then he would have sent you the bottles, and you had to finish in one day. And 300 bottles into 30 is 10 liters of water. You will be in the bathroom most of the days.
Okay.
It is safer than salt and sugar. Anything that you see because you did this is actually a healing reaction.
Right.
People get side effects confused with healing reactions. It's totally different.
Right. So somebody mentioned in their question, there is a bitter flavor to the drops. Can that be improved?
No, I'll tell you what it is. If you feel a bitterness, it's because the molecule has immediately recognized there's something wrong inside your body. For example, when you fall sick, the foods that you ate when you were normal, you can't eat. I mean, I have my daughter when she was young, and when she was sick, she hated ice cream. When she wasn't, she loved it. This is because your body says, I don't want you. I'm doing some repair work. So when you get that taste, it's because there's something wrong inside. It's already recognized the problem. And it is signaling you that something is wrong. We'll fix it. After a while, when this problem gets fixed, you will see the taste disappear.
I have noticed that myself. Sometimes it tasted that way and it doesn't now.
Yeah. Right. That's what it is. That is why I say it's a natural intelligence. I had the taste when I began. There was a problem. and I immediately corrected every problem. So that's why I call it natural intelligence. It knows exactly what to do because he is the Godfather particle.
It's very compatible with humans.
Yes, that's what it is.
Yeah.
It is a product of nature. You see, nature left when it created life, evolution. All the species were given the tools of survival. Be it lion, like elephants. I don't know if you've seen movies on elephants in India. They eat only two things. The temple, a lot of them are domesticated by the temple. They cut the sugar crop, just cut it and drop it in front of the elephant. Second, they cut rice fields, are cut. They consume like 150 pounds a day or whatever. What do these contain? These contain the exact same product. And elephants never get cancer. Never. And because there is a gene called P53 and they make multiple copies of it. I'm sure with my product, I will know soon how many copies I make. So we will know how we prevent that as well. So this is a ubiquitous part of evolution that every species has this.
Yes. Yes.
When they chew leaves, okay, they get the same product. So it's there, right there. It's in small amount. That's why I chew a lot. And the reason, 65 million years ago, when the asteroid supposedly hit the Earth and dinosaurs disappeared, the ones that survived were all nocturnal animals, like the bat, the cockroach, the rat, the snakes, and so on, reptilians. They survived because these guys go into the fields and eat the grains. The grains contains this product. They survived without sun. Whereas the dinosaurs didn't eat those. They depended on the sun to make vitamin D. And when they couldn't make it, their bones collapsed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, it's very logical what happened. So,
it's an innate intelligence that works in sync with our intelligence as well, without our input of the intellect or the left brain or whatever we want to say. We have another question here by Shireen. Can you ask what the effects are on someone who has a tumor?
It depends if you are taking chemo or something. The effects are marginal. But it'll prevent, for example, we're seen in patients who have cancer and who use chemo. It keeps the hemoglobin and platelet levels normal. Okay, but if you didn't do
basically it's working on the negative. Sorry.
Yeah, because you see what happens with chemo or many drugs is you are destroying the immune system in addition to killing this. I am trying to rebuild the immune system. So it's like one step forward, maybe 1.1 steps forward and one step back. So the process is much slower. If you remove the treatment part of it, which I don't tell anybody to do because it's very hard to convince people whatever they want to do, then it's much faster.
Right. So it basically works on the chemical, the poisons that are introduced into the body first, and then it goes to the actual.
Yeah, we have done work, I presented somewhere, I don't know, I haven't published it, where it selectively kills only the cancer cells. We have done that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, see, we did, I think I have not published it, but we have done this work where we took HIV patients, okay? So what happens when they do the testing for HIV and other viruses, they cover it with, they put it inside a cell called HeLa cells, which are nothing but cancer cells. So in this HIV thing we did, it killed the cancer cell. So the minute it kills the cancer cell, HIV is exposed. So it cannot independent existence. It dies quickly. The body eats it up because I'm activating the immune system.
Right.
So we have taken human cells and put 80%, we have infected them with HIV. This was done in Maryland by a lab for me. And when we give soma to this test tube, whatever, only that 80% gets killed. The other 20% which are not infected are left alone. So that we see. Also, we have published this work where we are done with the pancreatic cancer cell line, where it expresses a gene called Klotho. Klotho is the anti-aging gene. It's a goddess of, you can look it up in Wikipedia, Klotho, Klotho. And what happens is that once you increase Klotho, that kills cancer cells. So we do that. So that's I know it'll work, but there are people who, if we are now doing 2 patients in India, one is pancreatic cancer, other is liver cancer, who are not on any medication, have been doing it and they're improving. So once I get the report, I will know how it worked on somebody who has not taken anything.
Well, I would say that nanosoma is definitely divine, natural, attribute rich, and recognizes that in us as well. So I will go to a couple more questions that I saw here. I think, what are some of the healing effects from taking it? What somebody would consider detox? Is there any such effects that would show up as a detox?
Yeah, for example, people have, especially with skin problem, like your acne, for example, or you have some, let's say around your lips, herpes, okay? So when you use the product, a day or for 1 or 2 days, you may suddenly see increase. What it is doing is the best place for the viruses to hide is somewhere here in the sinus area. This is where your immune system is the weakest in the world, weakest in your body. All other areas is very strong except here. This is where we breathe air. That's why a lot of these viruses come through air. But what you can do is, you have this nasal spray, bottles.
Yes.
You can buy a cheap one, throw it out, wash it out, and put nanosoma and squirt it right up the nose, which is what I do. And if there's ears, you can put it in the ear, in the nose. See, this is an old bottle, but I basically take this and put it here, put it in my eyes, put it in my nose, anywhere. If you put it in the eyes, it'll stink for about 5 seconds, but then it's gone.
Right. You answered another question with that. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you for showing that. Yeah. Fibroid tumor, nanosoma help. Is there a particular protocol for fibroid tumors?
No, it's the same thing that usage. Use the same usage.
Right.
That protocol.
And then kittens, cats. Is there a protocol? How many drops to use on them, or
what?
Cats or kittens?
Yeah, you just spray on the food. If you can give a cat in the mouth, you do it. What I do is I put it on the dog's nose. He licks it, so that's it.
Perfect. Okay.
Dr. Raghu, you talked about jaggery. What is jaggery specifically? Is it a food, a leaf? What is that?
You've seen sugarcane, right?
Yes.
How they grow. Now, they cut at the bottom. It's like a long stick, a little brownish in color at the top. They put it through a mill. They squeeze it. All the juice is squeezed out, collected.
Oh, we do that in Florida.
You have it in southern Florida. You have it.
Cane juice. It's delicious.
Yeah. So that, if you allow it to evaporate without doing anything, is jaggery.
So you capture the evaporating part of it, you mean?
No. The evaporating part is water.
Oh, okay, got it.
And what is left over, it will be a little brown. The reason it's brown in color is because the color comes from a trace metal called chromium. And this plant, if you go to Starbucks, in that corner is cinnamon. There'll be cinnamon there. I don't know if you've seen cinnamon bottle there.
I don't go to Starbucks.
But if you have been,
Yes.
I don't go either, but if you have been, you will see that bottle.
Yes.
That's cinnamon. That's also brown in color. See, there are 2 or 3 plants in the world that pick up chromium from the soil. One is sugarcane, the other is broccoli, and the third is cinnamon. Without chromium, your insulin does not work well.
Interesting. Good to
That
know.
is why if you go to CVS, there are guys selling chromium picolinate, as for helping with managing sugar and all that.
Right.
Thank you.
So it's also, I remember from previous calls, it's also helping us with basically absorbing minerals and vitamins.
Yeah, you see, one of the biggest unsolved problems in weight loss has been people say go to low fat, and I explain to you what happens with low fat. You get a high carb, and low carb could be high fat,
right,
or high protein. So the best way to get, for example, calcium, especially for women postmenopausal, is to get it from arugula leaves. The way it works is you can do all the diet you want in the world, but if your immune system is not up to par, it's not going to pick up the essential stuff from the food you eat. So, for example, let's say the immune system is good. You take a little bit of arugula. Immediately, the guy says, "Okay, Mr. Calcium, you're welcome. Here is your stretch limousine taxi for you. We take you everywhere." That's it. Same way, there are something called transporters in the body, the genes that transport glucose, they transport amino acids from the protein you eat, vitamin. All these are transporters. They're full of taxis when you eat. And all this is moved. But when your immune system is not good, that's not happening. There is a taxi strike. Only certain guys, essential guys, get the taxi. The others have to walk. So it is slower to get to other places, and you get disease. So that's the way I envision it. So once the immune system is tuned, finely tuned, it can absorb these things. See, one small bowl of arugula when the immune system is good takes care of all your calcium in one day. That's it. But people take calcium tablets. But I don't know if you know this. There's a survey done that in the 70s, I remember because at that time I was just finished my PhD in Germany. I was listening to some lectures where they showed that women started using calcium because for bones, blah, blah, blah. Everybody said start using calcium, What happens with calcium is this, that calcium causes constipation. And constipation makes you unhappy. Now, this is funny, but if you plot the use of calcium and the divorce rate, they go in parallel. I mean, it doesn't mean that's the reason, but that's what you see, The calcium is very poorly absorbed, all these tablets. And see, you don't need any supplements with this product because once you tune the immune system, then you have to change the right diet, of course, you have to do that. That's an essential piece of the action. You cannot say, okay, I'm going to go back and eat, bang this ice cream, that ice cream. No, you need to change a little bit because you will also feel like changing because you're feeling good. See, right now, you don't know what is good health because you've not experienced it. You think you're in good health, but once you take nano, you know what is good health. It was very different from what you had. And that, I think, is the key. And I was told a lot of people, you got to change. I have changed completely. I don't drink any processed juice, nothing whatsoever. No sugar. I use jaggery sugar, okay? And I use a lot of coconut oil for cooking. Olive oil, that's only the 2 oils. Other oils, I don't use. They're all inflammatory in nature. They're too much of omega-6. So once you switch to coconut and olive, that's it. And your food intake comes down. But when you eat, what changes is this. Before, I would smell some food, I felt like eating. Now I smell the same food, I don't feel like eating. Because body says, it goes to the brain says, hey, this is not the time. But what happens for most people is they feel something in the stomach, they go and eat. But the signal has to come from here. It has to do with something called leptin. You can look it up. Leptin, Leptin. Mm-hmm. It has to signal to you. If that signal is not working, people eat like crazy. It's like insulin resistance, you call leptin resistance.
Well, wonderful. This is wonderful. So it is a lifestyle that we need to acquire, a healthy lifestyle, which I think Sandy and I will talk in the future as well, because that is a key to our health as well. So and Nanosoma will enhance all of that good food that we then eat. And if possible, if we can grow it ourselves, then we're eliminating the factor of chemicals that are being introduced or sprayed or whatever onto that. So there is less work for the body to do to eliminate all of that, right? And the nanosoma will enhance the absorption of all the good stuff in the good food and water that we eat and drink.
See, the water in America, interestingly, every state, I don't know, most states, they add fluoride.
Mm-hmm.
That's something to be stopped, because fluoride, they say great for teeth. But if you look at the biology of your body, there is no place for fluoride in your entire body in terms of biology. I can't find it. Fluoride and bromide. So when you go to shop, look for foods. If it contains bromide, is to avoid it. The word bromide is to avoid, because the body doesn't need it.
Right.
A lot of bromide is added, saying it could be safe, but it could cause other problems inside. Because the body, if it doesn't need bromide, why do you need to take bromide?
Right.
We have another question from Paige. She's saying that I'm excited to actually take this. I do like to do the master cleanse, so I can take the nanosoma while on the cleanse. And I'm thinking it would help me get rid of things my body is holding on to that is not serving me well. So Dr. Raghu, we have this person that leads us through a master cleanse, and I already discussed this with him, Paige, and he said it's fine to take this during a cleanse. And I'm sure Dr. Raghu would say, when we're not eating and we're cleansing, I think the nanosoma is still appropriate to take.
Sure.
Yes?
You take it, see, just not for this. You need to keep your immune system always at a top-notch level. Then the body is ready if something new happens. Okay, something new, we don't know. Because in this world, the number of viruses in this world is 10, number 10, followed by 32 zeros.
Wow.
That's the number of viruses in this world today. Viruses. Bacteria is 10 followed by 31 zeros. And parasites.
How many are already in our bodies? We already have viruses.
We have 1,000 trillion cells. We have trillions of cells that have bacteria, virus and bacteria. We already have it. See, this is the thing. The gut bacteria controls the immune system. This is the key. 85 to 90% of immune system is controlled by the gut. So what you eat in the gut and with absorbing is the key, because if that is imbalanced, it's going to affect the immune system. And interestingly, if the vitamin D receptor, that is what it works on, is the one that allows the immune system to flourish. That's why, if you're in Florida, it's a great place, no? When the sun comes out, go and sit in the sun, expose 60% of the body to the sun for 20 minutes. In 1 week, exactly, you can measure it yourself. 1 week, your vitamin D doubles. And
while taking the nanosoma, or just in general?
No, nanosoma doesn't increase vitamin D. The way it does is doesn't make vitamin D. It does the job of vitamin D because he's the boss of vitamin D. The boss is teaching. Hey, you don't do the work, I'm going to do this work. So that's what it is doing. This is the work you need to do. So you go in the sun, you produce water-soluble vitamin D. You see? When you expose. But the supplements you take is not water-soluble, it is fat-soluble. So if you're obese, or your liver is not good, or kidney is not functioning well, you're not going to make the ingredient that makes the vitamin D work well. Whereas if you produce it directly from the sun, it's a water soluble. Even though you may be obese or overweight, whatever, it avoids that problem completely.
Thank you. Good answer.
Yeah.
That's why
Something,
the sun is critical. You know, people, if you look at the map of the world, 77% of the people live in countries or areas which have 300 days of sunshine. Okay. Now, the 23% are the affluent countries from Russia and the parts of China up there, Western Europe, and anything north of Atlanta. Those are the places which have low vitamin D. And those are the places you will find all the chronic disease, maximum of them. For example, the breast cancer rate of a woman in New York compared to one in Kenya, Nairobi, there's a tenfold difference. Nairobi has a lot of sunshine. And if you look at how vitamin D evolved, it's even interesting because if life began in Africa, all of us were black. And so we had, the black is melanin, so that excess sun, doesn't harm your DNA, protects you. As the human civilization started migrating northward to Europe, there was less sun. So your skin became lighter to absorb the sun when it happens.
Mhm.
And that's how the white skin happened, or the brown skin happened, different temperatures, okay? And this is the key, because if you look at any group of people, be it in Africa, you can look it up on the web and under photos in Google, the Maasai tribe, and you can look at the men and women. The women are a shade lighter than the men. The reason being because of childbearing, they need to make that vitamin D when they're pregnant. So this evolution has allowed the skin to be lighter in that for those people. It's across every community in the world, you see it. There's no exceptions. You see in South India, where I come from, the men are darker, the women are fairer. Same, we feel the same temperature, okay, same effect of temperature and environment. That's because the childbearing is very critical, that the skin be lighter, because that is what allows the fetal brain to grow. You see this problem in the Middle East, even in America, ADHD. It's a function when during pregnancy, you had low level of vitamin D. That's what led to that problem in the first place. I mean, there are other reasons like vaccines and so on, but that's one. The whole of Middle East, the women are covered. There's no vitamin D. The average level there, I have seen in so many journals, is between like 3 to 10, which is crazy. It should be at least minimum 30 to 40. Or the more you have, the better. You feel it different, Some people, I had a friend of mine, she went to Jamaica for a vacation, and she had macular degeneration, okay? So she had to take this injection in the eyes every 4 or 5 months, twice a year, I think. When she went to Jamaica, she was also using my product at that time. She came back for a checkup with a doctor. The doctor said, do whatever you're doing. She said, I went to Jamaica. What happened was she produced a lot of vitamin D in Jamaica. People think wearing sunglasses is cool. No, it prevents sunlight from coming into the eyes. It's great for style, fashion, aficionado, but this receptor needs sunlight.
Yeah.
And everything in this world has to do with sunlight. The food you eat is actually nothing but a particle of light, because this light is what allowed the plants to do photosynthesis and produce food and grow the food. So it's like Einstein said, he has written a couple of articles on vitamin D and Einstein effect. I have one 30 pages, but a little more technical. But this is about when you take food, it's a quantum of Einstein light that is going through. It's light because energy is interconvertible, one to the other. So they have done in Max Planck Institute a work when they shine light on your left hand, they can find that somewhere in your feet there are changes, because light travels that fast. But the cells also communicate with each other. So we are all, it's a whole human body. So when this product works on the whole human body, we affect each and every chromosome. My prediction is that those who start taking young kids now, the next generation will definitely be free of any, what do you call, genetic diseases passed down from generation. But that we have not done, only because I don't know. But that is definitely in the line of how this works.
Thank you, Dr. Raghu. This is wonderful information. And yes, I did know that the sun is good for the eyes, but it's peer pressure, around here in Florida. We have another comment. Nan, could you please mention your comment about someone taking it that the nanosoma?
I think it's Nancy.
Nancy, I'm sorry, Nancy.
Yeah. Yes. Well, I just texted one of my clients that I recommended it for her husband. And I said, there can be a detox, because I don't know if she knew that. And she texted me and said, yes, he has an issue with his lips, I think, and mouth. And he was getting a flare up when he was using it, but he has been repeatedly using it and sees it's lessening and lessening.
So yeah, that's what happened. So what this does is it goes in and says, wherever you guys are hiding, and I'm going to come after you. So what happens is it goes in the immediate area. Then it actually goes into the bone marrow where most viruses hide, pulls it out and pushes it out. So that's why you see that thing happening. And then once it eliminates, it's a cure. It is not controlling the symptom. It's a cure, end of the day. You should never get it again, because your body would have produced antibodies to it by the time. The first time it didn't produce, and that's why the flare-up is there. Now, this guy has come and re-educated that fellow to do his job. It's like a security guard sleeping on the job and the robbers are going in and robbing you. But if the security guard is up to it, this won't happen. That's the way I look at it.
And somebody mentioned about the pineal gland and the calcification of the pineal gland. So what are the effects? Do you know of anything in that regard?
In about 3 weeks, I'll have the answer. We're going to do the pineal genes as well. So I will have the answer next time, about a month from now, because we are doing all the gene expression. But there are enough genes that are expressed for the pineal gland. We know that's very critical. We have that. But 3 weeks, I'll be very sure 100%. Right now, I know it works, but hey, I just need the proof.
Yeah.
But let's put it this way. The gene expression studies we have done so far in University of Virginia, we know where the genes are produced. For example, 37% of the genes are actually produced in the brain. That are produced are actually found in the brain. Doesn't mean it's producing in the brain, but it will happen. Second, all the glands, pineal glands, there are enough genes that are produced that work on the pineal gland. So I am trying to confirm with the second method, because we haven't had it, how it will work. But there are enough genes that will work on the pineal glands. Every tissue, every organ, we know the genes. So
Yeah, I would say it's probably working the same on everything in our body. Everything that is in disharmony is going to be brought back to harmony, right?
yeah.
So
Somebody was written about allergies. It works wonderfully
yes,
with allergies.
on kids.
Absolutely. It resets the immune system. There is something we call as TH1 and TH2,
Mhm.
When there's in our body, thymus, they always are in balance. When TH1 goes up, you have all this allergic output. So we bring that down. That's what it does. And this happens in other diseases that happen. So they always have to be in balance. Yin and yang, we call it. They call it yin, and that's why the Chinese medicine call it yin and yang. In Western scientific lingo, it is TH1 and TH2.
Mhm.
This is wonderful information. We have one more question before we close, Dr. Raghu. Paige, could you please mention what you just posted in the chat? Paige, could you unmute yourself?
Yeah, I just had to find it to unmute myself. So I just wondered, I have a grandson who actually was born with real severe allergies, and they are going a natural approach to getting rid of this. He like literally living in Florida, but had to be in footy pajamas because he would just rub his skin raw. And you couldn't, like, if you certain things, if we ate it and then touched him, he would break out and would be very sick. He's come a long, long way.
Could you
And they're
put your
doing like
camera on,
meat
please?
treatments. What's
Could you
that?
put your camera on, please.
Oh,
Thanks. Okay.
okay, there. And so he's doing much better, but I'm wondering, and they're talking, I mean, he's going to natural doctors who are working with the kind of like the memory, the muscle memory, that this could actually have been handed down genetically to him. But would something like this be helpful? And like, how young can we use this for kids?
We have used on children from age 4 months to 104 years. No
Okay.
problem. This is food. This
Okay.
is food. Kids' food also contains traces of this product, but not as much because it's highly processed. So if they eat pasta, it's there. If they eat broccoli, it's there. They eat grapes, it's there. So it's everywhere. Wheat, the same product is there. So it's not you can just use it. You will see immediate. We have, especially allergies, we see very rapid response.
Okay. Awesome. I'm going to get some for him.
And if you see one of my papers on researchgate.net, it's about people who have all these allergies that happen and how they recovered, and photographs are there. It's about skin. I have so many, but I have 28 or 29 publications just on metadicol nano, and one of them has to do with skin. Two of them has to do with skin. And one is full of pictures of 30 or 40 different cases of skin problems we have done.
Can you tell us where people can find that information if they're looking for it, please?
Researchgate.net. Or it is found on the Nanosoma website. Richard has, all the publications are there.
Okay.
If you just put my name and metadicol on Google, you will find all the papers.
Okay. Okay, I think Sandy, I think I shared with you the website. So
I posted them in the chat. They're both in the
Right.
chat. The European link and the USA link are in the
yeah,
chat.
so all of the testimonials and the history and all of that is there to be found. So yeah, any more questions? I'm so
Nancy's asking, does that include food allergies? I'm assuming it would. Is
Yes.
that correct?
Absolutely.
receding gums.
Yeah. I'm a living example. I went last week to my dentist and said, wow, your gums improved so much, because I just spray here and around the gums. See, the thing is, if you use it around the gums before you go to bed, there will be no buildup of bacteria around the gums by morning. And she removed one tooth, the last one here, which is all my wisdom went with that, when she took the and she said, oh, take this antibiotic, take this. No. I just sprayed here. And next morning I went to show her, it was 100% healed. And she herself had took the photo, so she knows that.
So spraying it in your mouth, it doesn't have to go under the tongue?
No, it doesn't have to. But since you already do, you don't have to put anywhere, because everywhere is vitamin D receptor, which is then linked, and other nuclear receptors are linked to the entire body. So it'll go where it has to go.
Got it.
I just put it at night. I have, we have this product. We hopefully will bring it soon. Can you see?
Yes.
Yes.
This is the same thing as a liquid, but in gel form. Okay. So what we do is, you can take, it's edible gel. Okay. So you can take the gel and rub it around your gums. That's the same thing.
So when are we going to get that?
Ask Richard. Richard.
I'm aiming for around the middle of the year. It just depends how things unfold. It's partly a cash flow issue, partly a logistics issue. So, I'm hoping to get it done around the middle of the year, which means I have to get moving pretty shortly.
Vitamin C inside you. And since it produces vitamin C, that is what builds collagen. Collagen is what forms up your skin. Now, like what you have, all those lines will just disappear in about a week or two. But you can actually use the spray directly. It does the same thing and rub it there.
We'll be using this stuff up for everything.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have another question. It looks like it's directed at Richard. Would you be willing to speak about the metaphysical aspects of nanosoma, Richard?
Richard is the one who's. I'm Richard.
It depends where you want to go with this. Firstly, there is a Zoom call that we did in early January where there is the recording of a woman who describes herself as a master intuitive. I think that's the phrase she uses. She started out as a medical intuitive and has gone way beyond it. And she describes how this works. But as part of what she says, this particle is not from here.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at what this product is doing, firstly, as Raghu describes, it's basically recreating the human genome, which means it's probably, in fact, I'm satisfied this little particle brought the template of biological life to the planet. So in that sense, it's that profound. But the picture is broader than that. If you want to look at this on a broader level, firstly, Raghu's astrologer says that this works across 14 dimensions. I can't imagine what that means, but that's certainly more than this temporal domain. And one of the interpretations I would make of that is that it's fostering healing, not just on the. Let me just close my office door. My good lady is making a noise cooking. I suspect it also triggers some of the underlying healing that we all need to do on a spiritual, emotional level. I'm not saying it will deal with everything, but for some people, it may be quite sufficient in itself. The other thing, looking more broadly at this, is I'm a deeply spiritual guy, and I didn't go looking for the journey. It came and grabbed me by the scruff of the neck and said, "This is where you're going, sonny. Get used to it." And I've come to understand that we are living in a very important time in terms of change in our world. I have been expecting what's happening in the world currently for about 8 years. And if you look broadly at what's happening, apart from looking beyond this scamdemic, as I call it, I'm not saying there is not a real new condition arising as a result of COVID-19. There's no question that that's so. However, the rate of death and so on from it is actually quite low. And as you now understand, nanosoma triggers the body to heal it. So I've been expecting what's unfolding in the world, not just this, but the much deeper change. The plan is to basically transform human life. So I've understood that the I call them satanic ones, dark ones behind the scenes who run our world are making a grab for complete control. And I've been expecting this for some years. And what I've also understood is that they would fail in their attempt. And in my opinion, this beautiful little particle that Raghu has brought to us plays a key role in this time of change, because it will firstly disarm, as we now understand, and we've had testimonials here on the effects of it dealing with this virus. It will disarm this push, not overnight, but with time. And it will transform human health, which means so much of what is being done to us to put us in fear of illness and so on will get washed away. And so for me, it's no accident that this has emerged and is emerging into the public awareness in this time of this scandemic. It's no accident. So that's probably more than enough.
Anyway, listen, before we wind up, if you let me share your screen, I can show you a few pictures of skin that we have done.
Okay. So can you just, do you have the option from where you are?
Yeah, okay.
There you go. Perfect.
Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, let me show you.
And this is from the gel or from the spray?
See, this was done on the gel. This is, you can see she's 59 years old. 2 weeks. Wouldn't you, who wouldn't like it?
Yes.
Okay, we're waiting for our bottles.
And you see here, it smoothens your skin beautifully. And you can use the spray as well on this. If you have this problem, you can do the spray as well. So all these contours, all these rough things, everything goes away.
Great for teenagers, right?
Yeah. I mean, look at this woman, how tightened it became.
Yeah.
You don't need to go to plastic surgery or take Botox. This is cheaper, easier.
And healthier.
Healthier.
Yeah. Yeah.
It works on, look at her skin here and here. What a difference.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Same thing, you can see. It smoothens the skin. Everybody tells me it smoothens the skin. You can just spray it on her, instead of putting some cream or anything, just spray, just rub it, you're done. For teenagers, acne, something very important.
Yes.
They get affected by that.
Wonderful.
This is the first woman who happens to be my doubles partner in badminton. I tried on her when I saw her face, This was in June 27, 2014. And this is on June 30th, 2014. 3 days. She used the cream. Just 3 days. They were stunning. Like you wouldn't believe how beautiful it was.
Beautiful.
And warts, you can remove the warts,
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't come back once you remove it. So this is a woman who had psoriasis for 44 years. In 12 weeks, look at her legs at the bottom.
Beautiful.
Leukoderma,
Mm-hmm.
People who had diabetic wounds, just spray on the wound.
Mm-hmm.
Skin, sorry, you can use on your nails. It becomes beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
He had the entire body, which was, skin. This we did with the MRSA infections. So there are a lot of such slides there, but I just wanted to give you an idea. There's one more slide I want to show you, which is why I call it the molecule of life. Let me see. You see, on the left is what happens when you take my product. This is what is happening to you right now in a general population. This may be a little bit off and on. So when you take my product, this is what my product is telling this guy. This is what you need to produce. This is what you have. So you compare the two. Whatever is missing is filled in. Whatever is excess is removed. So you have the answer. So it mimics what your body is producing right now. It's giving a second life. So this is the lesson. This guy, his body, needs to say, okay, this is what I need to do. Okay, teach me how. And then the correction happens. So we have done this. It's experimental. It's not theoretical. So
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
we have a lot of other skin, it takes me a long time, 2-3 hours just to go through everything, which is too much for, because once it's technical, it becomes very good, but I don't want technical. Picture is worth 1,000 words.
Well, we really are grateful for your time and your expertise in this beautiful presentation tonight. And we, it has been over an hour and a half, so I think we'll close. Unless there's anything else you'd like to say, Dr. Raghu.
That's it, use it, spread the word around. I mean, end of the day, we found in Malaysia that for every person who was impacted by this, he told 10 other people. I think, Richard, what did that lady in Arizona, what happened to her?
I don't know.
Sorry, I missed that, Raghu. The lady in Arizona.
Arizona, remember she had problems with the feet and she sprayed and then voila, and then she called everybody.
Oh, yes. Yes. She had very rapid response in terms of clearly improved circulation and she just saw a very rapid change in her health. This is very common. People with circulation or balance problems and so on, it's very common to see very, very rapid recovery of these issues. It's profound what this does, truly profound.
If the problem the body feels is very serious, it'll correct it immediately within a day. For example, we had a person whose sugar level was like 550, 500 or something, ridiculous number. The next day it was 350, the third day it was 220, and the fourth day was 160. And from there, 160 to 100 was a long transition. It took a long time. But she's saying, why isn't it going down? Why isn't it going down? No, it brought you out of danger so that it can now correct the underlying cause of this problem. So it took a little more time.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, so I think Dr. Raghu and Dr. Richard, I think what we need to do is connect you to Sasha Stone and Dr. Charlie Ward. You've heard of them?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I watch Charlie Ward. Who's the other one?
Sasha Stone.
Oh,
if you have a connection to them, we would love to talk with them. Yeah. No problem.
Awesome, great.
Charlie Ward is in Spain, actually, right?
Yes. And he is, from what I understand,
he talks about medical beds and all that, and this is a form of medical bed. So.
Exactly, and he is also the person that has been given some kind of a in charge position regarding the new funding and all of that is coming out. So that might, it is for the highest good of humanity. And that is the key, the consciousness component is very important here.
Yeah.
And
somebody who wrote here about Margalians,
yes.
That's one of those diseases, right?
Yes, the evidence is that it is likely to have been caused by self-assembling nanobots in the body, presumably from chemtrails or wherever, because how it expresses through the skin is horrific. And simply put, when you understand what this piece of natural magic is doing, it's clearing everything that doesn't belong. Why would Magellan's be any different? You see, the problem we all have is that we have been trained to look at one health condition, one fix.
Yeah.
And ultimately, all of the things that are going on are simply a reflection of the fact that our immune system and overall bodily function is not operating like it needs to. And this includes anything that's been foreignly added in on whatever basis. So you can expect Morgellons to be healed just like everything else.
So,
Perfect.
My grandfather always said this. He says, you see elephants in the forest, you think they take a break to go visit the doctor? No, why? They understand nature. You need to understand nature. Very simple.
I think this is perfect for closing this beautiful session. Thank you for sharing your expertise and your willingness and your time with us. And I'm sure we will communicate further at a hopefully date that is not too far away, and we'll see what we can do to connect you to either Sasha Stone or Charlie Ward or both of them. So because they're all connected. So that is the world that this needs to be connected to for sure.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, for listening.
Thank you,
any
thank you, namaste, thank you.
And
Have,
if you have any questions, you can always text me. You have my number. Email if you there. Usually I reply within the day. I get about
Yes.
30, 40 a day, but definitely